मैम वेट
भैया ट्रैफिक है।
हाँ आ जाओ मैम आ जाओ थोड़ा तो पीछे अरे यार सेल्फी
हाँ रुक जाओ यहाँ सड़क रोक दूँ क्या यहाँ रोक यहाँ रोक नाउ मैम वेट एक आपको थोड़ा हो जाए ना
They want a bite.
बाइट बाद में
Neha, is there a reason Prabhuji has to sit on the side? Can we make him sit in the middle? We're just going to open the book and do a formal launch of it.
अरे अंधेरा नहीं है फेस पे लाइट ऑन कर दो ना 2 मिनट के लिए
Prabhuji, who in the matter of a year has managed to write 2 books, and one of them is already a bestseller. So big round of applause for that, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, my first question to you is that Icons of Grace was your first bestseller. Then what led you to come up with Ask the Monk? Where did you feel was a need for this book?
Hare Krishna. First of all, thank you everyone for coming. And I'm not very comfortable with this camera stuff. These two are. So this is my third book, not second.
Sorry, Prabhuji. Now you're giving us even more reasons to feel bad.
The first one was in a hurry, so I didn't give that much publicity because I wanted to focus on Icons of Grace. It was too close, the release date. Yes, so this book, I wanted to actually get it out next year, but then I realized in 1 year so much can happen. The world changes, everything keeps changing, and these are questions that everyone has. As I write in the introduction, I have been asked these questions by a 9-year-old, a teenager, a youth, young mothers, millennials, and everyone beyond. Any modern audience, or anyone beyond that also. And unless we get these answers specifically focusing on a particular question, it's very difficult to move forward if we are stuck, doubts. So therefore I thought, let me just come up with this book. And it was just a decision which I made all of a sudden one day, and I said, now let me just reach out to the publishers, whether they agree to do it in like record time. Generally they take like 6-7 months. And Penguin was, they were already doing my icons of Facebook, they had taken over. So they were more than happy. It was a task. And I think everything fell in place by Krishna's grace. So the result is right in front of us. And the target audience is anyone 9 and above. It's meant for everyone.
Prabhuji, if there's one singular message that you would like this book to resonate with every single person who buys it and reads it, what is that one message? Is there a singular message, or is it just a ready reckoner which you can keep by your bedside every time you have questions about life, spirituality, religion, and you don't know whom to ask? You want them to refer to this book. So in your head, what is that one message?
It is very simple, because with the social media and a lot of stuff happening around us, we most of the times tend to overlook or verify the details of the information that comes to us. And whatever information comes to us, we also have an innate nature. We try to filter it through that. And therefore we tend to overlook the details, and we immediately believe everything that comes to us, and especially if it resonates with our own thinking. Like especially after WhatsApp, everybody has become a big jnani. So some people have this habit. Every morning they'll send out a long message to everyone, 1,000 people. And 99% of the times, these people who send out these messages, they themselves don't read them. But just a matter of, just that everybody now has the opportunity to make a breaking news. So my only message is that whenever some information comes to us, we verify that from the authentic sources. And especially when it comes to life, when it comes to God, when it comes to spiritual subject matters, the knowledge must be referred, we must refer to the scriptures. They are the most authentic source of knowledge. Like if you are studying biology, you don't verify the facts from that book, from a book based on economics. Or if you are studying geography, you don't verify it from chemistry books. So, but unfortunately, when it comes to these important subjects, we are very quick to come to a conclusion deriving our information from some Google, Wikipedia. That's not the authentic source. Even if, I'm not saying everything is wrong, but whatever you get from those platforms also, verify them with scriptures, because these are the authorized books. So that's what I have tried to do. Plus we need logic, we need examples. So I have used logic, science and scriptures, all three, to answer the questions in this. So verify before you, and therefore I hope that I have been able to present the message or the answers authentically. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Kajal, my questions now pointed to you. I have to confess, it's very refreshing to see somebody from the glamour industry on a panel that discusses spirituality. I'm just hoping your tribe increases. Do you have any specific recollection of when religion, spirituality, divinity entered your life and became a priority? Is it something you grew up with? Is it something that happened along the way? Tell us a little bit about your spiritual journey.
Hare Krishna, everybody. It is so wonderful to see this massive turnout. It's really, really nice. Good evening. Thank you, Prabhuji, for having me here. Priya, it's so nice to meet you. So to answer your question, my family has always been very inclined towards religion, rituals, spirituality. Of course, all the three of these mean different things. I belong to a family which has always visited temples. We've done pujas at home. I've grown up watching Mahabharata, Ramayana, like all of us. So I guess that little spark of interest and curiosity was there from a very young age on. Of course, this inculcated into something much deeper when Prabhuji entered my life. I was lucky enough to be introduced to Prabhuji through family during COVID. And I attended all the discourses. This was all over Zoom. And like all of us, I'm sure many of you have done the same, attended a lot of the lectures, did satsang over Zoom and all of that. Life was at a standstill, and I truly believe that there was a reason for all of us to connect and come closer to our divinity at that point of time. Having said that, I believe that divine is something which is very personal. With the passage of time, one needs to understand, develop, and cultivate their personal equation and their personal relationship with divine. For me, divine is my best friend, and someone who I can speak to, someone who I think of, and the one true guiding factor for everything that I do in my life.
That's beautifully put, and I think that resonates with so many of us urban professionals today especially, and it's nice that when you look at the room around us, there are so many young urban professionals who are here because they want to.
Absolutely.
You know. Prabhuji, I'm coming back to you with a question. Again, I'm a little curious to know, what was your writing process? What kind of, was there any research? I mean, I'm asking as a lay person because I want to understand your writing process. Was there a format of research? How did you put this book together? What was your starting point?
So these questions, if you go through the index, they're no news. And over the last 7-8 years, during my interactions, whatever I've gathered, so I put all those questions together. And these are the most common questions. I don't think there's any question that I've left. The process was, yes, little bit of research was required, because when I put some information or some figures, so you need to cite the original source, which was painstaking for me. I just wanted this to get done as soon as possible, but the publishers keep coming back to cite, legal team. But then the understanding that I have got over the last many years since I joined, so a lot of that has gone into this book, the answers. And then there are devotees who have done this question answer, so I got some reference from them also. So that's how we could put it together.
Such a beautiful book, Prabhuji. I was reading it yesterday and I have to confess I'm halfway through. Kajal, I know you and I just spoke and you said you started reading the book too. Any early thoughts on what this book did for you? How did you feel? Do you have any particularly favorite question? My favorite question is the one that says, what is the purpose of life? I think I've spent 48 years trying to find the answer to that and not succeeded yet, but on the path. Do you have a favorite question?
Well, haven't all of us asked that question? I'm sure each and every person in this room feels that way. But for me, this book, Prabhuji has been telling me about this book since a while, and I must confess that I absolutely love it. I've been reading it as well, not finished it yet, but I'm loving it so far. And I remember Prabhuji telling me very early on while he was penning this down that he wants to connect via this book to people who are young, the youth, the youngsters. He wants everyone to understand divinity in the most simplified manner. And I think that's what this book does for me. We've all learned so much from him, and he has been talking about various topics, our scriptures and our really rich history, you know, through the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, all of these beautiful books. But I guess one forgets. You know, we are all very human, and it's difficult to remember these things after a point. But this book, trust me guys, if you all haven't read it so far, please go buy your copies today, is a total handbook that you need to keep by your bedside. It literally answers everything in such a simple manner. It's a true beauty.
Do you have a favorite question that you want to read out to us?
So I'm very curious about Sri Krishna, and I always have been, and I have been bothering Prabhuji with these incessant questions, and he's actually answered one of my questions in the book, which is, why does Krishna have so many wives? He married 16,108 girls. And I always wondered, like, isn't this contradictory? What a player. So, Prabhuji answered this beautifully in the book. If he can elaborate on this.
Prabhuji, please say something in defense of Lord Krishna.
No, I love him. I mean, I have
We all love him.
adulation.
We all love him.
She is maybe just feeling insecure that Gautam doesn't read it. Is he around?
Well, no, he's at work, but I'm going to make him read it.
So you want me to answer that question? Yeah. So why did Krishna marry so many women? 16,108. See, whatever Krishna does, it's called Leela. But if we do that, it's called karma. So pastime. And Leela means it is done with a specific message in mind. Leela is done for somebody's pleasure, to make someone happy. So this whole world is like a drama stage for the Lord, and every incarnation of the Lord that comes to this world has a specific mission. So when Lord Ramchandra, he comes as Ramchandra, the mission is to establish Maryada. When he comes as Nrsimhadev, the mission is to protect Prahlad. So when he comes as Krishna, the mission is to establish his supremacy. That he is the supreme and he can do anything he likes without being affected by any reaction. But that's not the main reason why he married. So out of those 16,108, 16,100 girls were abducted by a demon called Narakasura. Because if you are taking these incidents from scriptures to blame Krishna, the answers also must come from scriptures. Not that, no, I don't think so. That is not acceptable. Like Jesus Christ said, either be hot or be cold. If you are lukewarm, I spit you out. So we can't take one reference from scripture and then not accept the other. So the same scripture which talks about Krishna marrying so many queens, it also mentions the reason. All these young girls were abducted by a demon called Narakasura, and they were constantly praying to the Lord who was at Dwarka to come and save them. So he came and killed him, saved them. But now the culture at that time was, no, those girls wouldn't be accepted by anyone. So they prayed to Krishna for shelter, and being the Supreme Lord, he can give shelter to countless souls. And therefore he married them. Not that he wanted, he was not going around, I love you, I love you, I love you. Will you marry me? He doesn't need anything. It's just that in the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the 4th chapter, he's already mentioned, as you approach me, I reciprocate accordingly. So if somebody wants to have that kind of relationship with Krishna as a lover, as a wife, Krishna rewards that. Somebody wants to be as his friend, he rewards that position. So it is Krishna's reciprocation, and nobody else would have accepted those girls. So he personally accepted them. And not just accepted them, he kept them happy. He had palaces for each one of them. And he was simultaneously with them, expanded himself into so many forms. The same Bhagavad explains this. And other 8 also, Rukmini, Bhadra, Vipra, Nagnajiti, Jambavati, Mitravinda, Kalindi, she knows more than me. So they also, if you read the history, they were the ones who wanted to marry Krishna at some point, and Krishna accepted them. And he kept them happy. And thus he establishes supremacy. He can accept countless souls and keep them happy. Hope you got the message. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, one more question in the same vein is, I think both Kajal and you've spoken about the youth and how we really want this book to reach out and make religion easy to understand, because it's often misunderstood, it's often thrust down, it's often forced, and somewhere down the road, it's not unimaginable for the youth today to lose their way. Do you feel religion needs to be reinvented for them to find it relatable? And if yes, then how do you talk to the youth when you are imparting knowledge about the Lord and His life? Is that any different from when you are talking to everybody else?
Religion means dharma, and dharma doesn't refer to Islam, Christianity, Hinduism, Sikhism. There are different types of faith. Dharma means our eternal position, constitutional position, and that is we are eternally connected to God, and our duty is to serve Him as being His part and parcel. So, and no faith can deny that. You ask anybody in Islam or Christianity, Sikhism, what is the ultimate goal of your dharma? To love Him, to serve Him, to reconnect with Him, to connect, always stay in His service. So it cannot be changed. Dharma cannot be changed. So it need not be reinvented. But yes, it has to be presented in a way that the audience today find relevant. The language might have to change, the ways might change, but the essence doesn't change. Ultimately, that is the goal, and how you reach that, we just have to figure out based on the audience we are talking to. Like when I speak to the children, little children, I can't speak the way I'm speaking to all of you. I have to literally come down to their level and present it according to, if I'm speaking to the teenagers, it's just a matter of knowing the pulse. If the message in your mind is clear, then you know which audience will relate to what, and then accordingly. And if I'm speaking to an audience which is totally devoted, then my language will be different. But the message doesn't change, the essence doesn't change, the goal doesn't change. At the same time, religion doesn't mean, spirituality doesn't mean we speak something which the audience want to hear. We have to speak the truth, what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. So we can't be flattering people. Oh, if I speak the truth, they will not come to me. So that kind of person cannot really preach, cannot share the message. A flatterer cannot do that. So we have to speak the truth, but in a relevant manner which they can relate to, without compromising on the essence.
Prabhuji, in all your dealings with the youth today, is there a common thread that runs in their mind about what is it that they are most perplexed about? What is it that they are most unsure and confused about?
What is the age group you are talking about?
Youth, Prabhuji. Not us, not the people.
Yeah, that's right. I have to be clear about it. Yeah, youth, I think relationships is a big challenge. And even if somebody is not into a relationship, that's a challenge. Why am I not in a relationship? So a lot of energy goes into that. And teenagers, it's not a peer pressure. Many other issues which you can talk about later. But youth specifically, career, because they see their friends are doing so well and I'm not doing anything. Even if they have everything to lead a comfortable life. But this is what peer pressure can do. So all we need is some food and the shelter and all the facilities they might have, but still because of trying to compare themselves to others, they make their life hell. Comparison, even if you have everything, so there's a lot of insecurity for no reason, anxiety, and sometimes they themselves don't know why they're anxious. So, and one more thing is a lot of confusion sometimes as to what to do in life. But whoever I deal with, most of them are sorted. Or maybe after they connected with the process, they became like that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Kajal, I'm going to ask you another very honest question. So much of the work you do is external. It's about looking good, it's about acting, it's about adulation. It's a very physical, outwardly process. So much of your life is up for public knowledge and information. And religion and spirituality is such an internal process. It's how do you balance the two? I mean, how is it easy to switch on and switch off? Are there different sides to you? Is there a Kajal at work which is different from a Kajal who is introspecting about life and God every day? It's sometimes it's at odds with each other, right? What you do and how you treat life.
So when there's a connection, I don't think there's any scope for introspection. When you're connected, right? But yes, like you said, my life is extremely challenging, very demanding, and now with my baby as well as work, work-life balance does go into a bit of a dizzy. But like we spoke about earlier, connection with divine is something that is so personal that you don't really get affected. I mean, it's just there with you. It's like a constant with you at any given point of time. So I may not really have the time to practice or to attend satsang as much as I like, but I still feel that connection within my heart. And I think that's what love truly is. You just have to feel it within your heart.
Has this connection changed the way you approach your craft? Has it changed the way you approach your life?
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you're even talking about this actually. This is one thing that I'd love for the youth to understand. Once you have that connection, I just think that your perspective and the way you approach things completely changes. And all due credit goes to Prabhuji for teaching me how to approach every subject of my life. Not just my craft, my relationships, my addition to my life with my beautiful baby, my work, my relationship with my parents, with my friends, with everything. It just makes you come from a place of love. That's what in my opinion, in my very humble opinion, is most important.
Prabhuji, society gives us many signals that sometimes success, professional success, growing, wealth, they're all at odds with building your spiritual self. People spend so much more time on building their professional selves. Can we juggle being selfless without giving up on being self-fulfilling? Can those two coexist?
Yes, so that is the path of the Gita, that you don't give up anything from your life. You just have to utilize what you have to connect with Him. Whether it's fame, it's your wealth, your resources, your body, your mind, intelligence, you use that. So nowhere in the Gita Krishna says that if you're a king, stop being the king. If you're a housewife or you're a working woman, you stop being that. He says wherever you are, from there you try to connect. Like, I'll give you a nice example. There was a butcher. Now this person is born in such circumstance, such a family, and his business is to sell meat. And he would sit in his shop morning till night. He had a weighing scale. And one fine day, as he is walking toward his shop, he finds a black stone on the street. He picks it up, he's attracted. And he starts using it as a weighing scale. And this stone was magical. If he wanted to sell 2 kg, the stone would become 2 kg. He had to place, he had that weighing scale, so one side he had to place 2 kg, so the stone would weigh 2 kg. If he had to weigh 4 kg, the stone would become 4 kg. And while doing all this, he would continuously sing the names of Krishna. He was singing, glorifying Him, remembering Him. So one fine day, one Brahmana he sees and he is horrified. This black stone happened to be a Shaligram Shila, Lord Vishnu's form. So he chastised him, and this person felt so embarrassed. He gave it to the Brahmana. He said, you go and take him, because I'm sorry I've been keeping him here in such a dirty place. The Brahmana starts worshipping him with his tantras, mudras, mantra, all that process. And one fine day the Lord appears in his dream. I am not happy here with you. I was more happy in his shop. He said, why such a dirty place? He said, no. But while he was doing that, he was singing my praises constantly, remembering me. So he had to take him back. So now this person was born in that condition because of his own past karma. He couldn't change that. That's his destiny. But from there he tried to connect to the Lord. And the Lord was happy. He was not killing animals. Don't take it as an endorsement that I can go on doing whatever I like and I keep chanting. No, he was not killing, but this is the circumstances he was born in because of his past karma. But he utilized that to remember him, connect with him. So Krishna says, tells Arjuna, Ma manusmara yuddhacha, you fight, at the same time remember me. He's not saying don't do your duty as a Kshatriya. Simultaneously we have to remember him. And to do that, while we are working in this world to remember him, we have to certainly dedicate some time, some amount of time in a day where we are exclusively giving attention to him, chanting his names, remembering or studying a scripture, worshipping. That way our whole consciousness stays with us throughout the day and we will be able to remember him. So the key is, the scriptures explain there are only two rules, which are the kings of all the other rules and regulations mentioned in the scriptures. And if we are following these two, then we don't need to follow any other rule. And that is, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. It's the same rule basically. And if you are able to do that, everything else is automatically followed because the goal is this. So the goal is remembrance of Krishna. It's not, goal is not renunciation, giving up things and running away from the world. And in Kali Yuga, it's very difficult to give up. It's not recommended also. There have been so many kings in the past who were great rulers, managers, doing so many things, handling countless souls. At the same time, they were great devotees. They were using the facilities they had to inspire others in God's service. So that's the greatest, especially when we are having some position in society, we can do the greatest service by being a good example. Because a true leader, a true influencer, which everybody wants to become nowadays, is somebody that people who follow you, you make sure that they don't just advance materially, but spiritually as well. Then you are a true leader. So especially when you have a position in society, you are educated, you can do so much service by inspiring people on this path, by your own example. To be an example, Krishna says, don't stop others, don't stop yourself, but be a good example. Teach others how you can make spiritual advancement while being engaged in your respective duties.
Hare Krishna. My last question actually is to you, Kajal. You've had a baby. He's 4-month-old. Congratulations. How will you set him off on his path to spirituality? What do you feel will be the first thing you will do to introduce him to the divine?
Thank you so much. I already did actually. The minute he was born, I whispered the Maha Mantra in his ears. That's the first sound he heard as soon as he came out into this world. And he hears me chanting, he hears me, he watches me, he's with me 24/7. The Maha Mantra is on loop in my house, playing all the time. So the sound is constantly going in his ears, and like Prabhuji says, this is the positive vibrations that every child should be exposed to. So hopefully from now on it's going to be his journey, and I hope he takes it further and has the best spiritual journey ahead.
That's beautiful. All the best for that. Prabhuji, my last question is there a 4th book that we should know about? Hai to. We'll start prepping from now only.
The 4th book, and there is one coming up in December, first week I think. That's for the children. There are around 40 stories from the scriptures because we need to give those impressions to the children right from the beginning. So some stories from the scriptures which are missing in today's families. Because at one point of time these stories were discussed in every household. Children would grow up hearing these stories from their mothers, grandmothers. And then for the adults, yes, there is one more coming out next year. That will be around June, July, which is based on self-help topics. So I'm trying to put like 15, 20 major issues that everyone deals with today. Relationships, mind, expectations, addiction, and a lot of other stuff. Forgiveness, envy, dealing with toxic people, mind, so all these major issues, karma. So that book will have around 15, 20 such topics. So because I truly believe that instead of people having to go and pick up a different book for a different topic, you just put everything in one. It's easier, and that was also one of the inspirations behind this book. Each topic discussed in this book, each question could have a separate book of its own. So, but we don't have that much energy, we don't have that much time. So why not put everything in one book? And that's what I did with the second book also, Icons of Grace. Now all of those saints have like big books on their lives. So I put everything together so you know at least something about them. And then if you want to go in detail, you have other books. But nobody has that much time. So we all want a crash course in spirituality. Before you even begin, people want to know when will it end. Especially when they come to a satsang or events like those. So, or if you start a Gita discourse, the first question is always how much time it will take, how many sessions, when will it end. But once they get connected, then they want the party to just go on. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, I think all of us wish that this party never ends and we all get many more occasions to come here to celebrate all the incredible work you do in the name of Lord Krishna. Now I'm going to open up this.
So I'm always perplexed by this question on karma. I'm born currently, wherever I'm born, the karma is...
Put the blame on our parents. They defined my destiny, they defined my karma. Every human being is born with a free will, which is manifested in due course of the choices, the decisions that we make. So our parents can influence our consciousness to a certain extent. If the parents had complete control, then the parents would never have a complaint, they would never need counselors for their children. My child is not listening to me, he's doing something else, I'm telling something on a different path. So parents can influence to a certain extent, but it's our own choices that we make using our free will that bring us to a certain point.
I think it is a major extent to till your teens at least, right?
Till teenage, you think you have been conditioned by something. Still after that, you have a choice. Because till 12 years, the scriptures also explain the innocence of the child stays with him. And when he's turning 12, that's when all the impressions from the past, they start manifesting. Yes, the parents have some control, but not complete control. And as humans, it's not about the first 12 years, it's about every moment. Every moment, the human life is so special. Okay, whatever wrong has been done to you, but then still you have a choice how to respond to it. What happens to us is our destiny. How we respond to it is a choice. Therefore it is said, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. So you still have a choice. Even if you have been conditioned in a certain way, like a person who is a chain smoker, he still has a choice to give it up. It may be a gradual process. So we can't live our entire life based on first 12 years.
Sure, but you still have a choice after a certain age, right?
Till 12 years, anyways you're not held responsible for anything that you do. According to scriptures, there's no karma till a child turns 32. So you are not held responsible for whatever you do. After that, what happens? That's something unique. Yes, parents do play a role, but then it's not everything, because you are also carrying some destiny, and that is shaped by your choices that you make eventually. And that is based on many circumstances. the society, the educational system, the family, the association that you keep, what you eat. Every time you are eating also, you are making a choice. You are inviting future happiness or distress into your life. So if you study the Gita in detail, you will understand how everything is just, every time we are speaking something, we are making a choice. And we are sowing a seed for happiness or distress in future. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Thank you so much. I took some time to recognize her. Can you just repeat your question?
Why do we have to go to a temple to pray if God is everywhere?
You have to read question number. Okay, I'll still answer. This is Naira, our old friend. Not old in terms of age. Why do we go to a temple if God is everywhere? Yes, God is everywhere. Just like I have answered this, water is a combination of hydrogen and oxygen, H2O. At least that's what we have read. You've never tried. Now, hydrogen and oxygen is everywhere. So when we feel thirsty, why don't we just open our mouth and... Because we need accessible form of water. Similarly, God is everywhere, but can we perceive Him? We need some accessible form. And that we find He is manifesting in a temple, in His deity form. And that becomes easier for us to relate with. You can't be meditating on nothing, you can't... we might just fool ourselves. But eventually, you can't be sitting, if you want to have that fulfillment, that's not possible unless you develop a relationship. And that's only possible with the person, when you are seeing the person. So God is all spiritual, we can't see Him with these eyes everywhere. So till then, we see Him in a form in which He is manifested, which is made of matter. Marble or metal. But even though these are made of matter, they are not material forms like ours. So they are spiritual, and the proof is that anything which is material is exciting in the beginning, gets boring with time. Anything which is spiritual, it might be boring in the beginning, but if you continue, it becomes very relishable. So if you get the, as I always give the example, if you get the idol of or your favorite, say, film star to your house. First day you may just install him like you install Ganpati, you may do Aarti, but you won't get up, maybe first morning you will get up, oh, let's go and see him, but you won't get up at 4 o'clock. And after 10 days, maybe usko thoda room se nikal ke corner mein rakh do, then it becomes a showpiece. Because that excitement goes away. But it is the same form of Krishna you see, day after day after day, year after year after year. You don't feel bored. Every day people are rushing to see it. Because it is spiritual. Spiritual things become newer and newer with time. Or you read the Bhagavad Gita. It was written 5,000 years ago. You can read it 1,000 times and not feel bored at all. You read any mundane book once, twice, after that it loses that rasa, that juice. So spiritual means gets fresh with time, and material means decreases. So the form of the Lord is spiritual, that is manifested in the temple. And therefore it's easy to relate to Him. आप खुद ही सोचिए, when do you feel more emotion towards someone? When he's in front of you or when he's away? When he's away you might just remember, but when he's in front of you there is more intimacy, there is more bhav. So the Lord manifests that form in a temple where He's worshipped with love, devotion. And wherever He's worshipped with love, He makes Himself accessible to us. And since the Lord is most accessible in the temple, so we go there. But if you find a place where He's not worshipped with love, there's no care, no attention, and the mood is not proper, then you may not go to that temple. But if there is a temple where He's worshipped with a lot of care, attention, love, that's the place He manifests His beauty, His kindness, and we should go and bathe in that kindness for sure. Right? You understood, or you just repeated what your mother wanted you to say? Okay. Hare Krishna.
I think if nobody has any more questions, is there one more question? Sorry? Media has questions. If media would like to ask anything or, being such a great role model. It's not every day that you come across somebody with this level of depth. And Prabhuji, there is nothing left. We can't thank you enough for what you do for each and every one of us in your own unique way. You have come to symbolize what connection and religion.
And Kajal, if you all remember, she was there for my previous book launch as well. And so I'm very grateful that when I mentioned to her, she was more excited than me to be here. And she's been a very, very special, kind soul, devotee. And right from the day we spoke, so she called up and I said, I didn't know who she was because her mother gave her my number and she said, I have a question. I said, we can speak. She said, can I call? I said, yes. So then she started speaking. I said, what do you do? She said, I'm into acting. I said, Baap re, bichari phasi gayi kahin pe. She stuck. But when we spoke, we met, she's totally like a lotus leaf. A lotus leaf is surrounded by water, but untouched by water. So very, very pure soul and very sincere. And so is of course her sister. She is not around. She ditched me today, Nisha. She was also into acting, but after she got married, just to take care of her child now. She stays far, so she gets the benefit of doubt. And Kajalji's parents are here. And both of them now sincerely doing it. And thank you very much, Kajalji. So I'll give you the next date. And thank you, Priyaji. Last time she couldn't be here. Last time she ditched me and she was in Dubai. So we pulled her back this time. And she's also been a very, very... When we started the Gita classes, she was like a clean slate. So when a person is like a clean slate, it's easy. She said she knows nothing. And we started and gradually... And now I can see her growing in her spiritual life, making so much advancement. And the simplicity of her heart has made the process very accessible to her. This process is meant for people who are simple at heart. And therefore both of them have found, by Krishna's grace, easy to take it up. And I pray to Krishna and Radharani that they shower their choicest blessings upon both of them, and I wish them speedy spiritual advancement and speedy advancement to all of you also who have been a part of this wonderful journey. And so I had a difficult task who to invite because I was told space is limited, so we couldn't put it out openly. It's not on my social media or on my WhatsApp groups. So what you see is a very close-knit family, and I'm very grateful to all of you. There is a term in Africa, Ubuntu, which means I am because we are. And that's what I feel. Whatever I'm able to do to serve all of you, it is your enthusiasm, excitement that empowers me and gives me that encouragement. The path of bhakti is such that the people sitting on that side could be more advanced than the person sitting on this side, and that I truly believe. Seeing your sincerity, I feel inspired and hope I can continue to serve you. And now I want to introduce you to the women of the match. Neha, please come forward. It was she, we just met and she said, so what are you doing about the book? I said, dekhte hain, plan hai, we'll do. No, let's do a book launch. And she basically has handled everything from scratch. She and her team, Deepa is here. And her whole team, I don't know their names, maybe you can introduce them. So they took care of everything, right from scratch, to coordinating with CrossFit, organizing everything. I didn't have to bother. And I have known her family for maybe last 7-8 years, more. since the time I was born. Yeah, since the time Abhiyan and Naira. I think Naira was Abhiyan's age at that time. And I'm so grateful to her. That on her own she came forward and she said she would organize, she would take care of everything. So very grateful. Thank you. And please do pick up your marketing manager and some shooting. So I'll be happy to sign it. Thank you.
Still side, still, Adda.
Yeah.
Request everyone to maintain silence. Good evening, everyone. Request for a short time, please. Thank you. And then they will be signing the books, so request everyone to kindly maintain silence. Thanks.
This I hold daily. Okay, firstly, what do you want to say? This is the second time we can see you launch a book launch, especially for this movie. And Ask the Monk. It's a good title. What do you want to say about the book?
Hare Krishna everyone, it's a complete honor to be here. I have been following Prabhuji since quite a few years now, and Ask the Monk is a very special book. It's beautifully written, and Prabhuji has answered all the basic questions that we usually have. I suggest that everyone should keep this as their handbook, keep it by your bedside, and definitely do give it a read.
And what is the one question that you want to ask Prabhuji on a regular basis about your industry? So many people have so many questions from our industry. Any particular question that you would ask Prabhuji?
Well, I've already asked him all those questions, but primarily Prabhuji has answered most of them in this book of his. Like, for example, the purpose of life, what is the meaning of quite a few things. He's answered a lot of basic questions in this book, and I guess the rest is for each person to discover. I can't be a representative of our industry and ask on their behalf, but I guess each person should just connect and reach out to Prabhuji individually.
हरे कृष्णा, क्या कहना चाहोगे बुक को लेके? आपकी सेकेंड टाइम मैम आए सपोर्ट करने के लिए, कितनी खुशी होती है जब मैम आते हैं? लास्ट टाइम शी वॉज प्रेग्नेंट एंड नाउ शी इज ब्लेस्ड विद अ बेबी बॉय, आई गेस, राइट? या कितनी खुशी होती है आपको?
It is always a pleasure because it's not something exciting for me because she's a family.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Excitement is not the right word I would use, but I'm very grateful.
I am the one who's grateful, Prabhuji.
She's always there, and I know her whole family now. So whenever I launch a book, I was very clear from the beginning that whenever I launch a book, I wanted somebody very close to my heart to be launching this. Plus, that person should be a devotee. And Krishna made such wonderful arrangement that she sent her into my life, and I'm so grateful. And even if I say this sentence, I'm so grateful a million times, it wouldn't be enough.
Oh God, no, Prabhuji.
So yes, I am excited always when she's around, and she's an exciting person. But more than that, I see her as a very, very special, pure soul, as I mentioned during my message also. And therefore, I always feel very comfortable in her association, and I hope she feels the same.
Of Prabhuji. I think Prabhuji is too kind. He's extremely gracious, and I am the one who's grateful for Prabhuji for giving me this honor, for inviting me again and again for such beautiful, precious books. But Prabhuji is just too kind, and he loves to promote his followers.
The last time also I asked you this question, what will be the first thing that you will do?
See, I went and did it.
Yeah,
I told you.
You told me that.
Yeah.
What you're planning for his future? What about your future? There are so many things that coming up when you will make come back for the movies. Will it be the South movies, Indian movies? Because nowadays the South movies are doing really well in Indian cinema. How do you see this thing?
So, well, I'll quickly answer this because this interview is not about me. It's about Ask the Monk, this book, guys, that we need to focus on. But, I am starting my movie shoots from mid-September onwards, and I'm starting with Indian 2, which was a film that had stalled in the middle for a little while. And when it comes to my son, thank you so much for your wishes. Of course, I'm going to introduce him to Prabhuji, and Prabhuji said that we need to introduce him to Gita classes from a very early age on, so I'm going to do that. I'm absolutely going to do that.
And how कितनी एक ऐसी बात मैं पूछना चाहता हूँ
हाँ जी.
जब गीता एक ऐसा सब्जेक्ट होना चाहिए हमारे बच्चों के लिए, क्योंकि बहुत सारे सब्जेक्ट रहते हैं, एल्जेब्रा रहता है, ज्योमेट्री रहता है, बट भगवत गीता पे आपको लगता है कि हायर स्कूल से एक क्लास होना
एब्सोल्युटली हायर स्कूल से नहीं, बहुत यंग एज से होना चाहिए, बिकॉज दिस टीचेज यू द वे ऑफ लाइफ विच नो अदर सब्जेक्ट रियली टीचेज अस. ठीक है, थैंक यू सो मच.
Done? Thank you.